What's happening? Yeah, it's like you never heard of Bill Cooper or William Cooper. Behold a Pale White Horse and other things. Majestic 12. He did this thing about aliens. Uh, and there's something called the Iron Mountain Report that was dropped on this uh on this topic of conversation here. It's not a good thing. Basically, it says when martial law happens that everything gets forfeited over to the UN, basically, and you got that report, you got the continuity of government report, you got Rex 84, there's something called Helix, I'm not sure what that is. You got the King Alfred plan, you got silent weapons for quiet wars, you got the Huxley thing where that we're gonna live in a dystopia where just neo-feudalism. It's crazy. Orwell gave us the warning about the 1984 thing. It's actually a combination between Orwell's vision and Huxley's vision. It's kind of an amalgamation of both. That's like the left and right pillar of the New World Order. There's many ways to achieve the New World Order. It doesn't matter which way. In the end result is always the same. Come to find out, neoconservatism is basically just corporatism or national socialism, which was the same thing that sparked up the Nazi rebellion. So, got to look into these things. Silent weapons for quiet wars, the Iron Mountain Report, Agenda 21, continuity of government, Rex 84, the King Alfred plan, Operation Northwoods. Basically, there's all these think tanks, and the National Socialists like to fight. They like to infiltrate all the places that people get taught in their political views, and they like to persuade them over to their National Socialist ideology. I didn't realize how many people were National Socialists. I don't even think they know they're National Socialists. Remember, this is the Workers' Party. So these are always the same people, man. It's always in the name of good. They persuade you to go to the dark side, man, and serve evil, like, fully. I mean, there's some people, your common drug dealer, your thief, your corrupt cop, your politician that takes a bribe, or, I mean, these things are relatively like small scale in comparison to the real big picture we got going on here. Basically, in the Iron Mountain Report, they had something called the MJTF, which is multi-jurisdictional task forces. And the niggas who followed me around when they thought I was the Flint Town Stabber was a multi-jurisdictional task force. And basically, I mean, in college right now, they're teaching, top mark students that the UN isn't nothing. It's like they're lying to them. It's like, dude, this is the vision of the UN's founders. Basically, I'm starting to see this analogy of the phallus, okay? Or like the Washington Monument. It's like you got this foundation. You got to have this foundation that goes under the ground. You know what I'm saying? This is the beginning. That's Babylon. Each nation that's continued on the ways of Babylon, like Greece, like Egypt, Rome. Uh, Even you can say, to some extent, you can say that the Genghis Khan and them tried to take over the world in the same spirit. Uh, it's like the pyramid is on top of all these foundations. Those foundations under the ground, the foundation that these things are built upon, are toppled, overthrown, subverted governments. And then these are the foundation square. It's going all the way up. But at the top of that spire, that pyramid, what they're saying is like, look, this, each, after this one's destroyed, the new one's made, there'll be a new addition. You know what I'm saying? To elevate that pyramid even that much higher. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of weird because that Illuminati has this thing where they say we will build new civilizations on top of the previous inhabitants of the land which we conquer. That serves to be the foundation for the civilizations that they build upon. And I mean, this goes back to the crown and their trade empire, which was more, they've always been, you know, traders. They use this monopoly of trade and exploitation of different nations, to maintain a financial. I mean, who cares who's your ruler, whatever, dude? If we're got more money than you, we own you, basically. I mean, it's pretty simple philosophy. you know, it's just like that. It's mechanical, cold, evil, self-serving. That pyramid on top, all of us, we're those bricks. Our bodies, our souls. Our contribution to the fucking, to the corrupt systems. That have always. I mean, America's no more corrupt than the previous past. Uh, Civilizations and political groups, sovereign nations, and all that. It's just, it's more sophisticated now because they got all this data. The Jesuits run all the colleges. They got all the archives locked in the bottom of the Vatican. So it's crazy. But really, the only people, it seems, that have practiced forms of democracy, I'd say almost like, biblically, you could go back to when the people all were crying out for a king. In a way, that's a democracy. Look, the people's will as a whole got appeased. You know what I'm saying? So that was kind of democratic. And here's something. I'm not an expert on Greek history. You know what I'm saying? And I kind of forgot that they also dabbled in democracy. But it seems like the truest democracy practitioners supposedly were the pirates. The people out at sea. They had their own code of conduct where they got to vote and they got to. It's like a republic. You get the people elect their leader or their captain or whatnot. The Native Americans definitely operated off of a democratic system. You know what I'm saying? It was more like it was a democratic republic, but without the title of republic, because it really wasn't a republic. It was just an alliance of different tribes and nations, but yet they still all the votes counted. You know what I'm saying? Like it was left up to the elect, and they truly did have people elected by the people. So that is a democratic republic uh, form of governance. Whether it was a little rudimentary uh, compared to what the founding fathers put out, but basically they took some of that, and some of them were the Masons, the Pirates, the Templar. These ideologies, were bounced around the lodge. I mean, me from the outside looking in, from what they tell me, seems like, yeah, they do have a discussion on things, but I don't know if it's it seems bias and prejudice, and it does seem like it likes to keep the European people of high regard. They don't want to. It's like tradition, traditions of men. Some of them, if they're good, why not? Carry on and modernize. You know what I'm saying? But if they're bad, it's just let them be done away with. You know what I'm saying? And move on to bigger, better things. But then there's also, I watched a documentary and it said basically the ninja clans over there during feudal Japan also were very democratic. So you gotta think of that. Who were the people that practiced, rudimentary forms of democracy? You know what I'm saying? Pirates, uh, ninjas, and Native Americans and the Greeks. But was there any? Were these all people, separate people that came to the same conclusions, or was this exported around the world? Because they really have skewed ancient history. We don't really know what happened, and you can't trust the historians, the Smithsonian, textbooks, schools. You actually got to go out and get in books or know people who can point you in the right direction and give you the sources so you can study for yourself. It's like, here's the thing: a person can tell me this. I can go study. What if I go study and find out he told me the truth? You know what I'm saying? It's like the Constitution. These things are self evident. So, I think the Democratic Republic was is good because it means that the people are the ultimate authority through their being able to elect the officials that represent them. But in a democracy, it's elected officials, but there's a point to where uh, it's no longer, they're not elected, they're appointed. You know what I'm saying? And that's basically where we've been for quite some time now. Like, really, the person who's been the president the most, that's George Bush Sr. He was president. He really was the president during Reagan's time. He he got to be right in his son's ear uh, while he was president. So, and he was president twice himself. So really, this guy has been the biggest influencer of our nation's policy. So that's the guy right there. He's truly Kaiser Soze, convinced the world that he never existed or whatnot. Well, to an extent, not all the way, but hey, who knew? Unless you really look at it and be like, wait a second, man, that's more than a quinky dink. But yeah, man, anyway, been thinking a lot lately, just wondering about the origin and then where things are headed. You know what I'm saying? But